There are painters who capture the world as it is. And then there are painters who reveal the world as it secretly operates, beneath the surface, behind the curtain, inside the rooms we've never entered. Remedios Varo was the second kind. Her paintings look like illuminated manuscripts from a religion that never existed. They feel like memories of a dream you had as a child but could never quite explain. Women in towers, clockwork moons, boats that sail through libraries, instruments that paint with starlight. She lived through war, exile, and erasure. And in response, she built an entire cosmology, one brushstroke at a time. This is her story.
Remedios Varo was born in 1908 in Catalonia, Spain. Her father was a hydraulic engineer who taught her to see the world as a system, something that could be measured, mapped, understood. She learned technical drawing before she learned to paint freely. That precision would stay with her forever. By the 1930s, she was in Paris, moving in surrealist circles, André Breton, Max Ernst. She met the poet Benjamin Perret and fell in love. But Europe was collapsing. The Spanish Civil War, the Nazi invasion. Perret was arrested. Varo was interrogated. The walls were closing in. In 1941, they fled to Mexico City with nothing.
For years, she barely painted. She did commercial work, illustrations, costume design, furniture restoration. She was surviving, not creating. But she found something in Mexico she'd been searching for her entire life. A home. Not just a place, a community. She reconnected with Leonora Carrington, the British surrealist painter. The two became inseparable, building their own world of alchemy, tarot, mysticism, and inside jokes. And then, in the mid-1950s, something broke open. Between 1955 and 1963, Remedios Varo created nearly every masterpiece she's known for. It was an eruption. Her work began to sell. Critics noticed. She had her first major solo exhibition in 1956. For the first time in her life, she was recognized. Not as a muse, not as someone's partner, as herself. But the bloom was brief. In 1963, at the age of 54, she died suddenly of a heart attack. She left behind fewer than 200 paintings, but those paintings contain entire universes.
The first thing you notice in a Remedios Varo painting is this. The woman is not waiting to be saved. She is not the muse. She is not the symbol. She is not lounging on a couch while men decide her meaning. She is the alchemist, the scientist, the creator. In Creation of the Birds, the central figure is an owl woman sitting at a desk painting birds into existence. Light flows through her body like a circuit. She is not inspired by the divine. She is the divine instrument. In Woman Leaving the Psychoanalyst, a figure walks out of a session carrying the head of her father in a basket, literally holding the weight of her past, but moving forward anyway. Varo's women are not passive. They are not decorative. They are operating, and the system they're operating is reality itself. Varo never forgot what her father taught her: the precision, the belief that the world is a system and systems can be understood. But she transformed that inheritance. In her paintings, machines don't manufacture products, they manufacture dreams. Compasses don't point north, they point inward.
Gears don't turn metal, they turn starlight into thread. Her images are filled with scientific instruments, lenses, hourglasses, beakers, celestial charts. But these tools have been repurposed. They've become instruments of transformation. This is engineering as metaphysics, technology as mysticism. The rational mind trained on the irrational soul. Varo's paintings are almost always interior spaces. Not landscapes, not cities, not the external world. Rooms, towers, libraries, laboratories, bedrooms that open into infinity. Because for Varo, the real adventure wasn't out there, it was in here. She understood something most people never grasp, that the inner world is not smaller than the outer world. It's bigger, more vast, more complex, more dangerous. Her paintings are maps of that terrain, blueprints of consciousness, architectural plans for the soul. Nearly every Varo painting contains a threshold, a door, a window, a portal, a moment of passage. Her figures are always in the process of becoming. They're stepping out of old identities, shedding skins, growing wings, awakening. Varo lived through fascism, war, exile, and erasure. She knew what it meant to be confined. And so her paintings are prayers for escape, not from the world, but from the prisons we build inside ourselves. They ask, what would it mean to be free, not just physically, but spiritually? What would it mean to step through the door? Let's look closely at Creation of the Birds, painted in 1957. This is Varo's Manifesto. At the center sits an owl woman, half human, half bird. She holds a violin-like instrument that channels light from a star. That light flows through her body, down her arm, onto the palette. She's painting birds, and as she paints them, they come alive and fly out the window. This is not metaphor. This is literal cosmology. The artist is not a decorator. She's a creator. She doesn't represent life. She generates it. Notice the technical precision, the folds of her cloak, the clockwork mechanism above her head, the careful rendering of feathers. This is the engineer's daughter at work. But notice also the magic, the glowing thread of light, the impossibility of the scene, the way reality bends without breaking. Varo is saying, art is not decoration. Art is transformation. And the artist is the instrument through which that transformation occurs. This painting is the key to everything else she made. Woman Leaving the Psychoanalyst is wickedly funny and deadly serious at the same time. A woman walks out of her therapist's office. She's carrying the head of her father. Not metaphorically, literally. The head is right there, staring up at us. She's just done the work. She's confronted the source of her damage. And now she's walking away, holding it, but no longer controlled by it. But look at the world around her. The walls are luminous. The architecture is shifting. Because when you change internally, the external world changes too. Not objectively, perceptually. You see differently. You walk differently. The physics of your life rearrange themselves. This is a painting about liberation, but not the kind you see in movies. There's no dramatic breakthrough, no tears, no triumphant music. Just a woman walking down a street,
carrying her past like groceries. Varo understood that freedom isn't a destination, it's a practice. You don't escape your history. You learn to carry it without letting it carry you. And notice, she's alone. No guide. No man rescuing her. She did this herself. And now she's walking into the rest of her life.
Here is a painting most people don't know. Breaking the Vicious Circle from 1962. A cloaked figure stands in a small room, smashing through a circular mirror with her fist. Glass shatters. The circle, vicious, endless, is broken. This is one of Varo's most direct statements. No symbolism, no mystical machinery, just breaking the thing that traps you. The vicious circle could be anything, a pattern of thinking, a relationship, a way of seeing yourself. For Varo, who spent her life fleeing Spain, Paris, poverty, obscurity, the circle was probably the loop of exile itself, the endless repetition of loss. But look at the violence of the gesture. This isn't gentle. This isn't meditative. This is destruction as creation. Sometimes liberation requires breaking something, even if that something is inside you. What I love about this painting is its refusal to be poetic. It's not beautiful. It's not comforting. It's just necessary. Varo painted this a year before she died. She was 54. She'd finally achieved recognition. She was finally free. And she was still painting about the necessity of breaking things. Because freedom isn't something you achieve once. It's something you fight for, over and over, until the day you die.
The Lovers is one of Remedios Varo's final paintings, possibly her last and one of her strangest. Two figures sit facing each other, their bodies distinct, but their faces fused inside mirrored frames. A single consciousness shared between two beings. Are they merging or separating? It's impossible to tell. The world around them is neither interior nor exterior. Trees dissolve into vapor. Space itself seems to melt. They exist in the threshold between matter and spirit, between self and other. For a lifetime, Varo painted solitude, women alone in towers, laboratories, and dreamlike vessels. But here, at the end, she paints union. All her life, she painted women stepping through doorways. And here, at the end, she paints the last doorway, the one that leads beyond the self.
And then there's Phenomenon of Weightlessness, her actual final completed painting. Figures float in a luminous, undefined space. Gravity has stopped working. The laws of physics have been suspended. Everything is dissolving, ascending, becoming weightless. After a lifetime of painting confinement, towers, rooms, cages, Varo finally paints complete release. There's something almost abstract about this painting. The figures are barely there. The space is indeterminate. It's as if she's painted the moment just after transformation, when the old form has dissolved, but the new form hasn't appeared yet.
Gravity is a metaphor, yes, but it's also real, and so is weightlessness. She spent her entire life trying to escape. Spain, France, poverty, obscurity, the past. And here, at the very end, she painted what it would feel like to finally let go. To simply float. Remedios Varo lived as if the world was always ending. Because for her, it was. War, exile,
loss, erasure, over and over. But she painted as if every ending contained a secret doorway. Her life was brief. 54 years, barely 2 decades of serious painting. By the time the world recognized her, she had maybe 7 years left. And then she was gone. But her universe wasn't brief at all. It's still here, still glowing, still operating according to laws we don't quite understand, but can somehow feel. Because that's what her paintings are. Not objects to admire from a distance, not symbols to decode, doorways to walk through. She knew what it meant to be trapped. She knew what it cost to break free. She knew that liberation isn't a place you arrive at, it's a direction you move in for as long as you're alive. And she left us the blueprints. Not blueprints for buildings or machines, blueprints for transformation, instructions for how to turn pain into vision, confinement into cosmos, exile into home. You just have to be willing to step through the door.